Howdy, howdy. Hey, everybody. Make sure I get my sound right. Hey, everybody. We are live. Welcome to season 3. This is episode 1, which is going to be June 2026 transits. But the season's theme is going to be We Are All Made of Stars, because yes, indeed, we are. And it's time to learn about the actual stars themselves. When we get into these conversations with people who use tropical or sidereal or Vedic, there's always a discrepancy in what's actually happening, right? But when we return the conversation back to the actual stars themselves, it becomes an entirely different conversation, right? It's no longer about arguing over which system is this or that. It's about getting back to what astrology is, study of the stars. And again, when the conversation becomes about the stars, some people can't even talk on that level. And that just shows the level of astrology that they can do or where they can meet you at. And I think the True Sky community, we need to start shifting into that, right? Of actually going back to the stars and bringing us back to that original template, the organic consciousness, the original clock that was given to us, because that's what our ancient ancestors did, right? They studied the stars and then they recorded information about their risings and when planets moved by them, right? They studied activations, they studied alignments. And I think that's really where we need to be as a true sky community of bringing in data. I know science is really getting a bad reputation, and rightfully so for some reasons, but we need to bring the science back to astrology to really bring in the divine information that is within the celestial bodies, within the luminaries. So that's what I want to do in season 3 is really focus more on the stars themselves. And because, science, since astrology it feels like astrology lost the plot when it diverged from astronomy. Because astrology means study of the stars, it needs to be the actual luminaries. Okay. And, you know, again, we're going to be focusing more on the specific stars, and occasionally I will bring in some other information if I feel it's necessary, if I want to channel information about various transits, but I really want to focus on the information because there's just so much information that I've been given about a lot of stars. I've been studying them for years, and I'm basically at the point where I need to share this information so that it can get out of my brain. So I'm working on multiple projects in order to do that for you guys. But I do want to touch upon a couple things before we begin today's episode. The first is you probably noticed that I'm not on camera. There was a new Zoom policy that was put into effect, I believe it was April 14th, where they are now scanning your retinas without your consent. And I believe that they reserve the right to utilize this data in various ways. So I have not been on camera since then, not even in private sessions because of this issue. And if anyone knows a better video recording resource, please let me know. Drop it in the comments. I'm looking for a new video platform. I'm looking for someone who is already using it, right? Who has a suggestion because they use it and they know that it's user friendly. I needed to be able to link directly to YouTube to do what I'm doing right now. So if you have any recommendations, please, please, please leave it in the comments. Um, that would be greatly, greatly appreciated. The second thing is this episode. Let me pull up the graphics. This episode is going to be the solar alignments and activation. So that's what we're going to focus on for today's episode. Um, because again, I want to be as detailed as possible and also give you information about these things since, yeah. It needs to come out. So, um, if you want to know about the Mercury, Venus, Mars, all of those can be found on my website and at sachitheseer.com. And so it is available for Eagle and Phoenix members. Did I click the right one? I did. Okay. It's available for Eagle and Phoenix members, so you can go over to more, or on your phone will be a little drop-down menu, and you can go to subscription plans. Um, Eagle members is access to the True Sky Astrology videos and um, the star catalog, and I will be posting some exclusive readings. And then Phoenix is everything with Eagle, plus you get a session with me every month. I'm currently offering a 14-day free trial for Eagle, so if you want to go check that out, now is the time to do it. It will give you access to all of the transit information. I did a video on each planet, except Jupiter and Saturn are together because there wasn't a whole lot that they were doing, and Neptune and Pluto are together because they also, there's not a whole bunch, but it's a very Uranian month, I'll tell you that. Uranus is doing like 6 alignments, so it's pretty big. It just feels very, very Uranian. And so, yeah, go ahead and check that out. Again, you can access all of it for free. Right now, you can access the star catalog. I plan on adding between 3 and 5 a month. That's my goal at the moment. So you can expect more information. I know a lot of people have been telling me to write a book on these stars, but I want to be able to give you the information now, right? And not have to wait until a book is finished. So I am offering that information to you guys. And if you have any requests of specific stars, you can let me know and I can add them to the list and make sure that I make some content about the specific stars that you personally care about. So let me know. Um, of course, that, you know, depends on what your stars are, and I hope that you know what your stars are. Which kind of brings me to my next topic. I would also, that is also going to bring us into yeah, something I think that's really important to also talk about in the True Sky community. So first, I want to apologize to everyone that I've done chart readings for before April of 2026. So I had been using a calculator that I found out was deeply flawed. I'm sure many of you use it as well. Just assuming that that worked for alignments, but in actuality, it's not. And I think using any calculator is going to be flawed because, again, where they put the boundaries are really arbitrary to a certain extent. Um, but the issue was, I noticed even with my own chart. So I have my own chart and it was telling me that my sun was aligned with a specific star. So I had been working with this star, thinking that this is my solar self sort of thing. And I decided to actually calculate my entire chart by hand with an astronomy app and which uses, actual celestial data and compared to the calculator, the astrology calculator that quotes, that says it's true sky. Um, it was 16 degrees off. And that's huge because for me, I calculate alignments within half a degree. So if I tell you your planet is aligned with something, it's because it's aligned with it. 16 degrees away, that's not even a freaking conjunction. Okay. So that is very alarming. I'll say it once and I'll say it again. Calculators are not the cosmos. They're not. And I think that brings us back to the original topic that I want season 3 to be about. We are all made of stars because, again, the conversation needs to go back to the stars themselves. That's where we direct the argument if anyone wants to, argue about it. Is like, when you pull up a chart, it's just another wheel. People are just going to see just another, again, like dead spreadsheet kind of thing. No, like that. is not the data that we want to be using anyway, right? They're just seeing another wheel, but we need to be pointing people to the celestial heavens themselves. Again, it turns into a different conversation. So now, since I discovered that and that this calculator is deeply flawed, I'm no longer using it, and I do all my charts by hand now. It is absolutely a labor of love. It takes a long time, but using astronomy software, it gives the most accurate calculations possible. They're not ecliptic approximations, and they're not just plain wrong. Yeah. I think the problem is astrology calculators, they have the astrological concept and then they try to retrofit astronomical data. But when we use astronomical software and then apply it to astronomy, that's the way to go. So again, I'm very sorry for anyone who I calculated a chart using faulty calculator. I guess I just got so excited that there was one already created that I never even thought that it would be incorrect. So it's a bummer. But if I've ever done a chart for you, and you are interested in actually seeing your real chart, and I'm going to pull up an example of that actually, you can feel free to message me, like email me or DM me, and I will give you like a super duper hefty coupon code to get like your actual chart. Because yeah, it's let's see, where did I put it? Um, yeah, I mean it's just so different. All right, chart example. Let me pull it up. So this is a chart example. So I use the astronomy software so you can actually see it, like where in the constellation it is. And like look at Chiron here, right? Like I just did a client's chart and their Chiron was literally in the club of Orion. No calculator is going to show that. It's going to inaccurately put it in Gemini or Taurus. But when you have an actual celestial body, right, because Chiron is an orbiting body, when you actually have it in a a different constellation, calculators aren't going to show it to you. And unfortunately, that also makes some of the aspects incorrect as well. So yeah, so if you're interested in getting your true sky chart, I give you this in the counterclockwise and clockwise fashion. And you get a info page on how to use these different charts for different things that you're trying to accomplish. And then I also give you this chart with your activations. Like this is a star activation chart. You can tell because they're almost all, if not all, ecliptic based constellations, zodiacal constellations. But then I'll also give you your alignments, which are um, off of the zodiacal ecliptic. Some of them are within the zodiac, but some of them are not. Right? Okay, yeah, here. And then I also give you in the info sheet how to use star activations and star alignment information. And then I'll also give it to you like this. So you just have a quick reference sheet of all your star activations and your star alignments. So if you're interested in this, I am offering this currently on my website. So if that interests you, and again, if I did a chart for you before, let me know and I will send you a really great coupon code. And I'm sorry for not checking the calculator earlier. I know it's like, I mean, what can you do? You try to, trust something like that. And although it is it's the best one out there so far. maybe. But it's not the true sky. And again, I think when we bring the conversation back to the stars themselves, that's when we're really we're talking about things that if people can't speak on that level, then they know that they have some catching up to do. And I think that's really important for people who use tropical and even some people on sidereal. A decent amount of Vedic people, they know a couple of the stars. They usually know like one star that's associated with each nakshatra, and maybe they know their Ayamasha star. But that's usually what I found is that's pretty much it. And if you are interested in learning these things for yourself, I do have a masterclass that I recently published. And let's see, I'm trying, okay. So it's called Calculating True Sky Data, and it's going to teach you how to do everything. It uses actual celestial data points. So how to use your Sky app to calculate star activations, star alignments, and aspects for use in charts or transits. And you get an intro video that will explain the course, and then an 8 module video series on how to calculate all these celestial data points of the planets, the asteroids, and also the lunar node. So, how to find the north node, how to find the south node, which they do not move like clock hands. Most calculators are not using the actual points, they're using an average, which is just not true. The lunar nodes are a celestial fact in time. So I go over that, ascension point, descension point, vertex, all of that, and then also how to find those calculated points, their star activations and star alignments. It also comes with charts for you to fill out and note-taking pages for you to print out and fill out along with the video, so that way you have all the information you can just easily reference. You don't have to watch the videos over and over. And then you also get a self-test to test your knowledge after you've completed the course. So afterwards, you give yourself a little self-test and then you watch the video answer keys to check your work with the self-test. And obviously, if you need any extra assistance, I'm also available via email. And in this course, you will learn to find the most astronomically accurate data for astrological use. Again, you are going to be calculating celestial points like the ascension point, descension point, midheaven, Imam Coeli, north node, south node, vertex, part of fortune, and more with your Sky app. Again, learning to calculate star activations and star alignments. And that's going to help you take your astrology to that next level with these specific data points. Again, it's like, oh, is the sun in Taurus or is it in Gemini? Bitch, it's at Zeta Tauri. Like, it's right fucking there. Let's talk specifics. Let's actually point out where it is. It's not in some random or hypothetical space. It's right here. Right? It's like it's activating Zeta Tauri and aligned with Beta Persei. And that's a fact. Okay. So bringing a little more of the science into it, again, to just bring the conversation where it needs to be, aligned with the actual sky. And then you'll also learn to find the angular relationships and determine the significant aspects between these celestial bodies and calculated points with your sky app. And I teach you the way I do everything, but I also give you the tools of different ways that you can do things. Like, for example, for the lunar nodes, they are very specific points of where the moon is, and they're not on the day that you're looking at most of the time. So, like, if you want to use averages, I teach you how to do the average, but I'll also tell you the method, like the reasoning of why you should use the actual real data points because this is true sky astrology. So, we're watching the celestial events and mapping them where they actually are. But you will have the tools to formulate your own methodology of applying these celestial calculations with actual celestial data. You do not have to do things exactly like I do. I will teach you how I do them and I will give you the tools to do it yourself. Maybe you want to do alignments that are within a degree and a half, go for it. Maybe you only want to do a specific type of star in the alignments. Go for it. Okay, so you'll have all the information necessary so that you can be successful. And again, it is an 8 module series. So there's an intro video and then the 8 module series. 1 through 6 is how to do everything, and then module 7 and 8 are the answer keys. And you also get a tip for successful course guide, and again, the note-taking package and the instructions for the self-test, and then obviously the self-test as well. So if that interests you, if you're ready to take your astrology to that next level, that is there for you. And I hope you enjoy it. I really put a lot of love into it, and I think teaching this information is so important, especially during a time where I just did a video on Neptune in Pisces with, the conjunction with Saturn, and Neptune's activating Epsilon Pisceum. It's like there's so many layers of spiritual deception, and astrology definitely has gotten hoodwinked along the way. And it's so important that we, as a collective, start tuning back into the heavens themselves, the actual luminaries. Because when we're doing that, we're usually also outside connecting to nature, right? Like what is above us is also part of our nature. It's part of our terrarium, if you will. So let's talk transits. We're going to talk solar transits. Happy Taurus season, everyone. I hope you're enjoying it. Let me know. Let me know how you're enjoying Taurus season. Um, Me personally, I've been working on my garden a lot. I've been uh, doing um, doing a lot of, yeah, gardening and trying to align with all of the um, like making my actions align with what I actually believe. So I'm actually harvesting my herbs consistently and drying them and making my own because I'm against all the poisons that are in the commercial herbs. And I'm only eating meat from Amish local farms, and I've really been feeling that a lot this tar season. Hi, Melody. I am seeing your message on the chat now. Yes, that would include charts done in 2024. These would be all charts before just a couple months ago. So, yeah, unfortunately, that software, I I thought it was correct, but it is not. But what I'm offering now is basically a completely different service. It's kind of like a packet of chart hacking tools plus your actual star map. I almost don't even want to call it chart because it is a map. It's like for real and shows you where things actually are. Alrighty. So we start off this month with the sun that's activating Ain of Taurus. And Ain is known as the bull's eye. It's the northern eye of the bull. So this star is known for precision. It urges us to keep looking forward. It also has connections to the 11th dimension and our galactic chakra. So on the high vibe stuff, it helps activate the original human body template, light body template through the galactic chakra. And when the sun is here, it's really shining light on our accuracy and staying on target of what we are actually trying to go for. And on this same day, starting the month, it's aligned with Aldebaran. That's the royal fixed star of Taurus right here, the other eye. And Aldebaran anchors the organic physicality of societal evolution, such as infrastructure, logistics, living standards that support the world and coexist with nature itself. So this is like nature-based building, being in harmony, and buildings being in harmony with nature and natural rhythms on the planet and bioarchitecture and things like that come through. And this star is also a protection mechanism for the 3, 6, 9, 12 arc portal system. So anyone who accesses that can do so through Aldebaran. And because it is a royal fixed star, right? There's only four of them in the sky, so it's pretty intense, and it's the holder of fixed Earth. So it really is an immovable force in some ways. It's things that are concrete. It's that concrete, baby. And it's also known for the appreciation of beauty, right? Natural beauty. And Venus is ruled by Taurus, as we know. So a lot of this energy of caring what things look like, not like on the surface, not like, oh, um, how do I want to put it? It's not the physical aesthetics in terms of like, oh, that looks good. It's more like the physical aesthetic, like, oh, that looks healthy. Like this person looks healthy. Um, that's kind of the energy that comes through Aldebaran. Very, again, natural beauty of like, oh yeah, that's exactly. It's like natural beauty has its own beauty standard, and that is that it is natural. Um, so a lot of really amazing stuff comes through Aldebaran. And Aldebaran also helps get rid of quote unquote monsters on Earth. So it shakes that energy uh, off the planet, basically. So it helps get rid of things that are terrorizing humanity. And, you know, in terms of since it's an alignment, that's an alignment check for us all. Like, are we really coexisting with nature and her rhythms? Low vibe, literal terrorism against nature. So that's the high and the low of Aldebaran, which is super high and super low. So just kind of pay attention to how things are coming through at the beginning of the month on the first. And we also begin the month with our um, alignments through Camulopardalis. Camulopardalis. And these alignments that are running through this constellation are going to occur through the 26th of June. So it's most of the month we're getting energies coming through here, which are pretty intense. And we see, trying to, yeah, so we're going to be having energies run through that star system for quite some time. And we also have alignments coming through Dorado as well, which is a great time to be keeping an eye on gold in general, right? There's Dorado holds a lot of gold codes, even though it is a fish. But right, that's the connection of water emotions when it comes to right liquid assets and things like that. So money moves like water and it is a flow aspect. And so a lot of those codes come through Dorado as well, but a lot of gold stuff. So there is connections to the eighth dimension that run through Dorado, and it's also connected to our thymus chakra. It holds the gold ray and the gold flame. So some people might be getting activations during this period. Um, of either holding them or embodying them or anchoring them or utilizing them. And we might see some interesting things change when it comes to gold's value. So if you are invested in gold, this might be a little bit of a wild time. Um, and again, it's through the 8th is when we're going to be having these alignments. Um, what else? So, yeah, all right, the alignment aspect of Dorado. So, if we think of like low vibe, it's having gold taken from you. If it's on the high vibe, it's going to be having gold gifted to you. So, um, that can really materialize in a lot of different ways. If you are gifted gold, definitely drop it in the chat. Um, and Dorado is very interesting because the constellation itself holds the Large Magellanic Cloud, which is known as an astronomical treasure house of the galaxy. That's what they call it. So, again, there's this emphasis of like literal treasure that happens with the Dorado alignments. And it also has the south ecliptic pole here, right? So there's a lot that relates to the yin's, the sun's yin polarity that runs through Dorado. And then also through the eighth, we have alignments going through Kalium here, which is the chisel. So it's connected to engraving and craftsmanship. So during this time, if you're given an engraved piece of gold, then wow, amazing. Like super high vibe. I hope everyone gets that. And it's also going to be in alignment with Eridanus until the ninth. And this constellation is about emotional programming. It's a river. So it points out where emotional programs are through generations that have been flowing through us and give us the opportunity to either stop or repeat them. So there can be a lot of emotional recoding through generational stuff that occurs here as well. The sun continues moving through the tuning fork, and I forgot to, it's actually on the fourth. Yeah. So we also, before that, I got a little bit ahead of myself. We have the sun that is going to be aligning with all of these Orion stars I should probably talk about. So on the fourth, it's aligned with Tibet of Orion's shield, supposedly. And this star is known as the Endurer. It's very protective, it acts as a shield, and it's a great star to work with for any sort of protection mechanisms that you're engaging with. So I definitely think in general, it's a good idea to sort of put a shield up towards any sort of um, any energy you think that needs to be shielded right now. Obviously, running through Taurus, it feels kind of planetary, so that might be a very good idea to do. On the 6th, we have it aligned with um, El Kab on the 6th. And this is a direction star. So it holds the energetics of space itself. So it's technically part of Taurus and it's also part of, um, I need to learn how to pronounce these things. I just read them like all day. Ariga. Um, and again, it's a direction star. So it's basically when it's tied to the energetics of space, it's like where you end up after the direction that you're going in that you went down it already. So it's a stars of repercussion in that way. It's kind of like, okay, I'm going in this direction, I'm moving. Okay, now I'm at this other location. And it's the spatial relationship between point A and point B, depending on direction, a vector, I guess I would call it. So it does have connections to, travel and transportation sectors. So there might be some stuff going on that day. But it's also a star known to birth new terms. So, new word, new sound. When that occurs, new matter can be formed. So there are definitely creation codes that come through there through language. Low vibe energy is Achilles heel. So weak spot, getting hit in a weak spot, that could be a downfall. If you need to hit someone in their weak spot, that is a star you can channel from. But it's pretty interesting the sound stuff that can come through here. So a great time to, if there is a concept that you are trying to anchor that does not have the word for it yet, it would be a great time to create a word for it. And then Yeah, so through the ninth, we have those alignments through Kalium, or I think it's Coelum. And then it begins its alignments through Mensa. And what's the other one? Oh, and Lupus. Lepus. So we have alignments coming through both Mensa and Lepus here. Mensa is known as the Table Mountain. It's the Mons Mensal in South Africa. So this constellation's connected to storm systems and how storms form naturally. And Mensa's also that name for like the high IQ society. So there can be some energetic ties to that group as well. And then Lepus, the rabbits, uh, rabbit medicine comes through, right? So there's a reminder to stay very vigilant and aware of surroundings, but also to avoid paranoia, right? Still staying mindful. And it's also a constellation where rapid reproduction comes from. So any sort of creative endeavor can really multiply at this time. I will let you know, working with Rabbit Spirit for money magic multiplies money very like quickly. Um, I really like Rabbit Spirit. And, you know, rabbits, they F like rabbits. There's a reason why they say it. But on the low vibe, it can cause rabbit hole energy to materialize. So if you're researching or getting information, it's really important that you're not, overloading yourself or going into psychosis. And I think that's really important on a wider scale right now too, because of everything. I recently went to the doctor for a checkup. I'm completely healthy, in the best health of my life, actually. And the nurse there, she's been a nurse for 30 years and just kind of had a complete breakdown in front of me and was just saying she doesn't know what to believe anymore. She thinks society's doomed. Bill Gates is ticks this, and all these kids are getting sick that, all these weird cancers, all these health things that only old people used to get, all the young people are getting, da 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 da. Yeah, and I told her like, yeah, and there are things that you can do to sort of circumnavigate these problems. But obviously, someone who's devoted her life to sick care system, her world is falling apart. And it sounds like she's putting pieces of the picture together to figure out why. And then having a breakdown in front of an entire stranger in her professional setting. Okay. So I think it's pretty representative of the common state of affairs. So again, just be careful, not overloaded, whether it's the UFO files or the Epstein files or anything like that. Um, just be mindful. And then on the ninth itself, it actually aligns with Cursa of Iridanus, a very interesting energy that comes through Cursa. Great day to clear ancestral curses, especially emotional programs running through Iridanus. So, however you like to do your rituals or energy work, clear out ancestral curses for sure. The sun is helping with that. And then on the 11th, in the early hours, oof, yeah, it's like it feels like between the ninth and the 11th is definitely intense energetically for sure, because then we have this alignment with Rigel. And the sun's alignment with Rigel, it's brutal. Okay. Rigel, that's like the Rigelians, according to UFOlogy, or, alien species that supposedly exist in these places. The Rigelians are known for eugenics, race wars, genocide, breeding programs, adrenochrome cults. Like they all come through here. Mass extinction events. So definitely a great day to protect yourself. Beware of people who are exhibiting those qualities or agendas or pushing that. Um, Currently, there's not really high vibe to this star that I could sense. Its energetics are so freaking dense. I would recommend breaking any contracts with any species, any grays, any contracts that were made on your behalf. For example, the government using your social security number to make contracts for you as a creator of that SSN entity, or even your parents signing contracts for you as a legal guardian, right? Any type of contract signed on your behalf, break it. Like write your own contract, which is something I am going to be working on very soon for you guys. I've been mentioning it for a while, but spiritual contract writing is like so important. And I think that we need to, yeah, learn this stuff. All right. On the 12th, that is when the sun is officially activating Zeta Tauri. This is a sound field star. So, how sound creates matter comes through here, how it creates matter and influences matter. And, with the sun here, it's typically an emphasis on the throat chakra, like alignment of the throat chakra, more light activations through the throat chakra, and how you're using the power of your word. So, how your authentic soul expression comes out of your mouth. Typically, the star's super chill and unbothered. Unless like the bowl is seeing red, then it definitely can get very, very triggered. It's one of the more aggressive stars of Taurus. Taurus in general is very chill, but Zeta Tauri is kind of on a different level. So is Elnath. Um, but and then this is also when we have the first new moon or the next new moon. Um, it's going to be activating Zeta Tauri. So this star is going to be pretty important coming up. And then on the 13th, it makes its alignment with Elnath. And Elnath is a linking star. So it's a bridge. It is connected to Taurus and Ariga. And it helps birth new things into existence. So the star is known as the one who butts or the one who crowns. So you can think of new birth as crowning sort of coming through here. But also, right, clashing horns. So, natives who have Elnath typically extremely headstrong, obstinate. They really stick to their values and morals, right? They're very principled, but they are also very headstrong, can be stubborn. And Elnath is also a propulsion star, so it can get things moving pretty quickly. Which isn't your typical Taurus energy, right? Unless the bull is charging at you, or charging at something. Typically, bulls don't move very fast, but this star does move fast. You can kind of think of it again as like contractions happening in this, right? And it's like the contractions get faster and more frequent. And that's the kind of energy that comes through Elnath. And interestingly enough, this is called the anti-center of the galaxy because it's directly opposite the the galactic center. That's Ophiuchian-ish. Like Ophiuchus kind of Sag, Scorpio energy. And then we have the alignment with Bellatrix, which is occurring on the same day in Orion. And Bellatrix is known for extremely aggressive energy. I mean, a lot of the stars through Orion are pretty aggressive. Okay, these are being reclaimed, they're being re-energized, and the organic template is starting to come online, but there's some pretty intense stuff that still needs to be recoded here. Um, Very outspoken energy, very aggressive. Um, it is a star of WAR, okay? So just be aware of that. And then on the next day, it makes its exact alignment with Nihal of Lepus. And Nihal is a super watery star, is very, very watery. It helps with emotional situations. So, um, that feeling that you've been wanting to feel or need to feel, just feel it. Okay, great alignment check. um is really feeling your feelings during this time. And the point of feeling is to feel it and then it goes away, right? Emotions are supposed to be energy in motion. You're supposed to feel that energy and then it's supposed to be gone. It's when there's resistance to it, probably due to, injustice, wounding, or whatever it may be, where it gets stuck in the body because it's just trying to process it. So, good star to work with to let go of that stuff. And the low vibe can be toilet issues. It's really gross, like broken toilet, gross toilet. It's kind of funny because recently I've seen something go around threads of like, hey ladies, have we all been here? Like in the astrals, and it's like a dirty bathroom sort of place, which I have been there. And I just thought it was kind of funny because that's like the low vibe of me hall that can come through there. It's kind of that same vibe. It's really weird. Um, but then we go to potentially the most famous stars, I feel like. I think more people know the belt stars of Orion, or at least know Orion's belt, more than they know the four royal fixed stars. I think so. Maybe it's because of Men in Black. I don't know. But we do start out on the 15th with the alignment with Mintaka. And this holds the blue flame. So you may have some blue flame activations come online or get blue flame downloads and stuff. I don't hold the blue flame, so I don't really know, but I have worked with someone who holds it. And it was very interesting, kind of a weird experience. But anyway, it's also connected to the eighth dimension and the eighth dimensional Stargate that runs through Iran and Iraq. So it'll be interesting to sort of see what's happening around that time on the 15th when the sun is aligned there. Um, and of course, well, maybe not, of course, I don't know. For those of you who are mermaids, you probably know Mintaka is connected to the mermaid lineages as well. And then on that same day, it also aligns with our neb of Lepus. And so we have more rabbit codes that come through. Specifically, this star is known for a very sophisticated fight or flight system. So again, we're right. This is all before Gemini season where the emphasis is on the nervous system, but we do have Mercury there that's really bringing a lot of information from our electrical system, right? Our fight, flight, what is it? Fight, flight, freeze, fawn, and fuck system. So there's going to be a lot of information that comes through, and it feels like when we have this alignment with our neb, there could be something that's really trying to frighten us. And again, because Mintaka is connected to Iran and Iraq and that eighth dimensional Stargate, just be prepared. And again, like don't go into a rabbit hole and really have your nervous system fortified and protected. And then we have the alignments with um, oh, yeah. We have the alignments through Columba that begin on the 15th as well. And Columba, that brings dove energy to the collective. So there are themes of peace and hope and stuff. And there's actually this really great song by Aesop Rock, not Rocky, Aesop Rock. Um, and it talks about pigeons. I don't remember what the name of it is, but he's talking about pigeons and like respecting pigeons and basically how pigeons are treated like scum. And he's like, a dove is known for peace and pacifism. A white dove is a pigeon. You MFers are bigots. Like, it's just such a great line, and it's so true because it's like, yeah, they are pigeons. So there's interesting. I'm curious why that came to mind. But dove spirit typically does represent, some uh peace and purity codes and things like that, but also why um, do we always consider white pure and things like that? I think there's a lot of distortion that comes through there. And then we have on the 16th, the sun is going to be aligned with the next belt star, Anilam. This is the middle belt star, and this holds the violet, magenta, pink flame. this star has been fully reclaimed from the Orion Wars, which is awesome. So through Analam, we shut down war timelines. You can connect to the star to recode the entire Orion matrix. So Analam is like you can go there and just sort of get into the code of ever all the other stars too. So for anyone who astral travels or channels, um, yeah, that's the star you want to go to. And then the next day, we have the third alignment here with Alnitak. This is the one that holds the gold flame. So it's interesting. We have two gold flame activations during this month, um, through Dorado, and then we have Alnitak. And so yeah, there can be some gold flame activations. That's the original abundance codes, wealth codes that come through. And then we also have on that same day, later it aligns exactly with fact of Columba. And this star is known to bring in good news. So alignment check. High vibe is like receiving good news. Um, and it's also a star for making agreements and contracts that are in good conscience. So that can be interesting how that comes through. And it's also a star that's connected to the elderly population. So it feels like there might be some sort of changes going on with the elderly as a collective, maybe changes in Social Security or something like that. But there's something going on through that. But again, it is a sign of good news. So sometimes, not all change is bad change. And then on the 19th, it aligns with Safe of Orion. Pretty much the month. I mean, we do start off with Taurus energy, but there's just so much Orion that comes through, which is interesting because, as I mentioned before, it's really a Uranian month when we look at it. And again, if you want all the other transit information, you can access that for free on my website right now for all of the planets as well as access the star catalog. But SAFE is connected to very deep knowledge. This is like mystery of the cosmos level stuff, and it enhances mystical practices. So it's a great time to be doing any sort of mystical or ritual sort of thing here. And this star specifically helps activate and balance subtle energy bodies and clear energetic blockages and heal emotional wounds. It's a very high vibe star. Obviously, you can tell it's been reclaimed already. Um, and this also has connections to Atlantean timelines and the mystics of that time. So, natives who have this alignment in their chart are usually connected to Atlantis or have or believe that they've been in, lifetimes in Atlantis. And then we also have the pictorial alignments beginning on the 19th too. And that's the easel. So it's a really great time to work on any sort of creative project that you might have. Um, or obviously painting for sure if you are into that, painting on an easel. There's a lot of energy that comes through pictorial. There's a lot about like structure and geometry. So what kind of structure or material do you need to create? Or like get the tools and items that you need to create before this alignment. So that way when it's moving through the constellation, you have what you need to make whatever you're creating. But there's also a lot about geometry and like architecture and things like that. It's a very, very, very creative energy that comes through there. And then we have on the next day, back to Columba, we have the alignment with Wazn of Columba. And that's another star of good news. Um, yeah, there's a lot of good things that come through Columba, even though I kind of, was humbug about it, but it is a pretty high vibrational constellation. So you can expect that. There's definitely some good news that can come through around this time. So if you've been waiting for good news, it's probably going to happen between, the 19th and the 20th. So, well, let's just say expect good news. Whether you're expecting it or not, you can expect the unexpected good news if you're not already expecting good news. But then we also have the alignment with Betelgeuse the same day. This has connections to death and rebirth. It's a very Plutonian star, but it is ruled by Jupiter. So there are some lucky things that can come through here, specifically for those who might work with the dead or work in those, maybe working like in a funeral home or graveyard or inheritance stuff can come through here. And then on the 21st, we have the alignment with, I wonder how to say this actually. Let's find out. Gonna, gonna, I think it says how to say it. Oh, it doesn't say how to say it. I thought it had the phonetic spelling. Okay. Well, Beta Arugae. Okay. We have the sun aligned with Beta Arugae on this day, and this is a star of control and power. It's also another propulsion star, so it can really get you moving forward. It's just very important to have the proper direction. And that's when we had the directional stars with Ain. Again, it's very important to stay on target. And it basically kind of feels like it's like propulsion to Elnath, which is another propulsion, or I'm sorry, not Elnath, Alkercab, another propulsion star. I mean, Elnath is a birthing star. This is the propulsion star, but it's like it's basically whoop, and then here is sort of another uh, bottleneck before it pushes you forward. But again, it's really important to make sure that you're moving in the right direction. And then we also, on the 23rd, the sun is going to be in exact alignment with the south ecliptic pole. And again, this represents the negative polarity of the sun of solar energy. So, obviously, when the sun's aligned with the south ecliptic pole, the solar energy is going to be extremely yin. And this point is also connected to your IC in your chart. So, however that comes through your Imam Coeli, just kind of note that. So the sun is sort of ending its Orion emphasis here as we get to the end of June. And we have it activating Propus here with its exact or height of alignment on, or activation, excuse me, 23rd, 24th, 25th. Propus is another propulsion star. It helps us move forward. Uranus was actually discovered here next to Propus. So it's also connected to new information and discoveries and surprises. And it can help us discover our purpose or a purpose that will require a decade-long dedication to. So that's Uranus level stuff, right? Our genius. So things can take a U-turn around Propus. So sometimes you're moving in one direction and then new information comes through Propus and you're kind of like turned in a different direction because that's what your soul is in, um, what is necessary for your soul mission and your life path, like harmoniously together. And interestingly enough, on this day is also when we start our Monteceros alignments. All right, unicorn energy. So, Montecero star system brings in that unicorn energy, and these are our timeline guides. there are going to be timeline splits and shifts around this time as we enter into Gemini season. And I actually have a class on working with unicorns if anyone's interested. It's called the Unicorn Workshop. It helps you consciously jump to particular timelines, and also includes information on unicorn healing as well. I'll put that in the description box for anyone watching who's interested. I love working with unicorns because I'm a timeline guide, so they're very, very helpful. And during this time, look for rainbow rays or any unicorn imagery that materializes around that time because the unicorns come in strong and they are so helpful. Literally. It was literally during the unicorn workshop when me and my business partner were uh, doing that class that the true sky revealed itself. That's the kind of timeline shift that unicorns can offer. It literally put me on the organic timeline of True Sky Astrology. That's when I had my True Sky awakening. Thank you, unicorns. Super, super amazing guides. And yes, unicorns are real. They're like glitches, basically. Like they materialize right as a unicorn, but what they actually do is rip the fabric of space-time to get you from one. They rip through the fold. It's like when they rip it, it also folds in on itself and is able to pop you through. So, yeah, it's really, really interesting energy. And then on the 26th, we have an alignment with two lynxes, or 21 lynxes, or no, it is two lynxes. Where is it? There we go. Oh, the beginning of the of lynx. So, lynx is a very sly type energy. If we think about lynx medicine, it teaches us very similar lessons to like cat spirit, right? Intuition, inner knowing, secrecy, vision, clarity. There's definitely some, smexy energy that comes through Lynx as well. I'm still diving into the Lynx star system, but obviously because it's two, I imagine there's some partnership or balance energy that comes through that star as well. And during this time, the sun is also going to be activating T-Jot posterior of Gemini. So I would say Gemini season starts basically, yeah, like 22nd. And again, this is the thing about determining where it is and why middle points are so arbitrary. And that's why, looking at the actual stars themselves, because like when does it actually start? Is it when it's aligned with one of these stars that might be associated with Gemini or aligned with the, this, or when it first touches Propus? And that's why the seasons don't mean so much to me anymore. It's really the celestial positioning of things. Like, where is it? What is it activating and what is it aligned with? Like, that's the data that matters. Um, this emphasis on season is just such a new thing that was never a thing. And I think part of that is part of the timeline manipulation of these sects of astrology that are doing things with time that they shouldn't. Anyway, um, so yeah, on the 26th, 27th, we have the sun activating T-Jot posterior. And this is a start of mental calculations. It's calculations that are made from past data from the central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. And the star is also really known for extrapolating data, like really good at extrapolating data. So, although there's this aspect of like analytical and calculative gifts that are here, the shadow that comes through here, the lower vibe, is projecting past experiences onto or into the future to create like a self-fulfilling prophecy. And that can be an issue when it comes to energy and data that's stored in the nervous system. And it is a star of, data that's stored in the body. I think it's a really hot topic right now, right? There's one study that was published that says the body doesn't keep score. And everyone sort of went up in arms when anyone who's like actually moving energy through their body and things are going to be like, oh, I don't care what a study says. I can literally feel it in access memories and pain and all these sorts of things. Um, but the body is the scorecard, right? It doesn't keep score, it is the scorecard. I heard someone say that, and it's so on point because that's what it is, right? So it's kind of interesting that that study was published recently because I think we're going to get some more information regarding that around this time. And some common materializations that come through TGAT posterior are seeds that are just sprouting or dendrites. So look out for that kind of fractally imagery around this time. And on the 27th is also when we begin our Canis Major alignments here. And it's going to be starting those alignments with Mizram and Furud of Canis Major. And so Canis Major brings lessons of loyalty, community, pack mentality. The alignment with Mizram, this is a star known as the announcer or the herald. It's interesting. There's a lot about like messages that come through here. It's like good news, herald, announcer. So yeah, there's going to be some really interesting messages at the end of the month. You can expect some interesting message on this day, on the 27th. It feels like it might be more of a larger public announcement of some sort. Um, it's also a star of military contracts. It could have something to do with that. I hope not, unless it's like a good one. But I mean, we've been seeing a lot of different military contracts through a lot of these AI companies and things like that. So there might be something that's announced during that time. And then Farood here, this is a star of unexpected companionship, which is a pretty interesting, cool energy. So it's when you think you're alone, but turns out you're not. So this can sometimes materialize as like a certain spirit guide that's coming through, or meeting an unsuspecting friend, or like a pet that happens, or let's put it this way, an animal that happens across your path that is meant to be your pet. So it's kind of this like, oh, I'm kind of doing everything on my own. Oh no, I have a companion type energy. I really like the energy that comes through for Rude. It feels like a, oh, yeah, I was never alone. Which truly it's kind of like you with your higher self, but the way it materializes externally, it's just very heartwarming. It's a really heartwarming energy that comes through here. And then on the 28th, we have the sun in exact alignment with Canopus of Carina, which is a very, very big bright star. And Canopus is known as the driver's seat. So it highlights that we're the captain and we're determining where we're headed. There's a lot of these kind of directional stuff through um, through June. Uh, but it is a star of being the driver, being the captain, but also respecting the sea if it takes us in a different direction and sort of course correct as needed. So it's kind of like, yeah, have your plan and your direction, but sometimes there's divine intervention that needs you to kind of do something. And I think that's the big difference in understanding soul mission and life path. Like, yes, you have a soul mission, but sometimes your life path will take you on a small detour for whatever it may be, a certain lesson, a cool experience, prioritizing fun, whatever it may be, and then kind of bring you back. So there is a little bit of surrender that comes through Canopus, as there always should be, but it really is a star of being in the driver's seat of like, yeah, you are, like, you're in control. Like, basically, there's some instances where it's like, okay, yeah, I can't fight against these waves. I have to go with the wave and then I'll, fix it tomorrow, basically, kind of thing. Or next week when the storm's done, whenever, whatever it may be. But you're still the one driving the ship. So, not all plans are foolproof, right? But it's about having the skills to deal with the detours and get back on track when that happens. And obviously, the star is connected to, journeying in general. Um, and it's also connected to going on a journey to collect something that was yours or fighting for love. There's a lot that comes through there of like Helen of Troy sort of thing. So that can be quite interesting. If someone took something that's yours, that's a great day to get it back. Great time to just reclaim your energy in general. And then, okay, they don't. Okay. And then also we have the alignment with Beta Monoceros on this day too. So this is going to be a peak of unicorn energy. Uh, and so just pay attention to the way that the unicorns show up on this day. Again, it is a timeline. Any alignment with Monoceros is a timeline branch point. And so I think it's pretty awesome on the 28th we get the alignment with Canopus reminding us we're in the driver's seat, but also there can be some waves that take us somewhere else. And again, it's like every time you jump, you're not always on a better timeline, right? Like shifting timelines isn't something you always want to do. But if you end up on the wrong timeline, how do you get back to the timeline you're supposed to be on? That's the important skill to have. And again, I do have a workshop on that if you're interested. Um, Everybody loves the unicorn workshop. Everyone who's taken it has reached out, has loved it, which most people have. Um, and yeah, it's just really amazing. Yeah, wow. I'm just thinking back to like what big shifts happened when I first connected to the unicorn. It was insane. I don't know if any of you were following me on Instagram at that time, but that's when those like rainbow unicorn heads just like showed up on the wall and we didn't know where they were coming from. It was insane. And then these two rainbow unicorn heads showed up on the wall, like through light, just through sunlight coming through the window. And they looked like they were galloping, and that's when we got our unicorn uh oracle decks that day. It was insane. It was just insane. I love unicorn energy. They are not subtle. I would say unicorns are pretty much as flamboyant as they can get, okay? Yeah, so just pay attention to what's happening. Really great time to be shifting timelines if you feel like you're not on the timeline that you should be. And then at the end of the month, we end the month with an alignment and an activation. It's activating Mepsuta of Gemini and aligned with Elhenna of Gemini. So by the 30th, it's like 100% solar Gemini energy, totally. And Mepsuta here is known for being very bendable, stretchable, adaptable. And there's a lot about rhythm and sound that comes through Mepsuta as well. It's connected to things like onomatopoeia and beatboxing. Is very weird sound codes that come through here. Very different than sound codes that come through Taurus. These are like pure creation stuff, and this is more the expression of it. And then we have the alignment check through Alhena. Um, and the high vibe is having a solid brand, either personally or business, like really knowing um, like having the authentic right through the sun, like being so authentic that the brand is just apparent. Low vibe is the other kind of branding, that hurts animals and things like that. But through the high vibe, you could be very, very inspired to create. Elhana is very, very um, creative, especially in terms of, again, if it's, how do I want to put it? Maybe brand's not the word. It's like the uniqueness of the way you do things, right? So it's like your handwriting has its own kind of brand, right? And like your brand would be like, what colors do you wear all the time? Like the fashion that you have, the way that you talk, your handwriting, your voice. Like that's your brand, I guess. I'm not sure if anyone can think of a another word to kind of encapsulate that, let me know. It's like your vibe, your style, but it's not, it goes beyond that. Things that like other people could ascribe to you. The low vibe of Elhana is getting burnt or scarred in some way or stranded. So please avoid anything that might leave you stranded, scarred, or burned. But a high vibe that also comes through Elhana is if you are stranded or hurt of someone coming to rescue you. So there are some like hero type energy that comes in and kind of saves the day, or when you're in a sticky predicament, someone can, you know, fix the problem with ease. So I do like, again, it's kind of like a course correction that even comes through Alhena. It's like even if you're in the low vibe, like this other high vibe energy can still come in. So yeah, I like that for Alhena a lot. I like Gemini. I'm a Gemini rising. Maybe that's why. Um, and those are the solar, right? Because then we go into July. Yeah. Those are the solar energies for the month. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I do want to point a couple things out that are occurring during the month. And again, all the other transit information is available on my musings page if you are a member, and you can access that for free for 2 weeks if you're interested in checking it out. That's where I'm going to be putting most of the information now. If you value what I do, then come and get it. Come get all the info. Um, because I'm going to be sticking to solar transits and alignment and activation here. So I'm either think of continuing to do it this way, or I'll do 1 week of all planets and then do the remaining 3 weeks on my website. So you guys will have to tell me which one you prefer. And maybe next month I'll try it the other way and just kind of see how it goes. But let me know. But again, a couple things I want to point out. Well, I guess this isn't even in June, but I just want to point it out. Look at this Uranus-Mars conjunction that we're going to have at the beginning of July. This is big. It's like second, third, fourth, like the 4th of July, Uranus conjunct Mars, activating Pleiades. Holy moly, it's gonna be big. Um, the other thing is we are having a Mercury retrograde that begins in June as well. It starts at the end of June. It's like Mercury's just about to have its conjunction with Jupiter, and then it turns its ass around. So basically, Mercury is going through all of these activations, like all this Gemini stuff, and then before it can leave and get to Cancer, it turns around and goes through all the Gemini stuff again. And I cover all of that energy in depth on my website. Mercury has its own video, so does Venus and Mars. I put Jupiter and Saturn together and Neptune and Pluto, but I really recommend going and checking that out. Again, you can access it for free now. There's tons of information there. I also want to talk about Venus is going straight to the beehive cluster of Cancer, and then it goes through the ghost window here of Acellus Australis and Acellus Borealis. It's just like boom, boom, boom. Yep. So it's going to be a very interesting time. Some ghosts. energy is going to come through Venus. And obviously Venus activating the Beehive cluster is probably one of the most quote unquote matriarchal times. It's going to be very activating for women in general. It's pretty intense. And then through the month we have Mars that's going to be moving through the Aries Cetus void and moving into Aries Taurus territory. I consider this Aries and Taurus, honestly, because it's like aligning. It's closer to Botine here, but it's still aligning with what's going on in Taurus. So Mars is starting a whole new cycle, and that's a big deal. There's a lot of energy that's coming through Mars, and then it's about to make its exact conjunction with Uranus, which is going to be pretty big. So there's a lot of stuff that's happening. And the reason why I say it's going to be a very Uranus month, I mean, yeah, geez, it's going to be a very Uranus time. All June and then into July when we start off with that conjunction. But Uranus makes six alignments that are pretty significant. Most of the time, the uh, most of the time Uranus doesn't make, I mean, the outer planets don't make a lot of alignments because they move so slow. That's why, like Uranus, I mean, even look, like Uranus isn't really moving much, but it's doing so much with its alignments, which are really intense. So I highly recommend to watch the Uranus video too. Melody says, is the membership monthly transit going to be in video or written format? I just rejoined, not sure if I missed you discussing. So it is video format. So my website hoster had gotten rid of the forum area, which is where I used to post videos. So now I'm creating an article on the Musings page, which is where like everything for the membership is. And so if you go there, um it's an article that will say June transits, and then in that article it has links to every single video. It's just a list, like Mercury link, Venus link. And I'm also welcome to feedback from everybody about how that's structured, um, because I am just coming back into things and getting everything back off the ground. And I want to do what works best for you guys, the recipients of the information. So, um, yeah, let me know. Let me know. And like if you like written format better, also let me know. I used to do everything as articles, and then the True Sky Crew occurred. So then it kind of switched to video. So yeah, let me know what you think about that. And then of course we do have the, I hope you guys are ready. We have the full moon in Scorpius that's about to occur in a couple days. It's a big one. It's at Antares. So it's going to be really intense. That's the fixed water star. I'm going to post information on Instagram for that. And then we have another new moon in Taurus during the month. And then we'll have a full moon in Sag, activating Nanto, I think. And that's what it is for the month. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Um, I don't have much else to discuss. My thought is to keep this a little bit more brief, and it looks like, yeah, an hour and a half. Yay! For once, it didn't take me 3 hours to do an episode. Everyone, please clap for me. I'm really just trying to get all the information out as much as possible. Um, and I'm wondering what else I want to do with the season other than just give information about the stars. I'm thinking about having guests on where we just debunk every argument for the tropical algorithm. Just talk some shit, you know? So, that's kind of my idea for bringing some guests on is just to kind of chit chat. And then I want to keep transit information like very info based and focused. That way you don't have to watch a whole 4 hour video. Even though all the other videos are like, between 15 minutes and maybe 30, but you can just go and, watch them in incre, Watching a 20-minute video is a lot easier than watching a 3.5, 4 hour video. So, yeah. All right. If there's no questions, then I think this is where I will end the episode. Thank you, everyone who came and joined in the live. Thank you for everyone who is watching the replay. Everything I mentioned, all the courses, services, everything will be in the description box. And what else? Keep an eye on Instagram so that way you get the new moon and full moon info. And again, join on my website to get all of the other transit information. And I will make an announcement on Instagram when the next episode is going to be. And sending lots of love to you guys. I hope everyone's doing well. And remember, we are all made of stars, and it's time to figure out which star you're made of. Toodaloo.